welcome back, boys and girls. Well, this evening's story is by MacLeod, and the story is called The Music Box. Helena cried out as the small wooden music box suddenly came to life. Playing its sweet little melody, she stared wide-eyed in horror as inside its tiny ballerina began her graceful pirouettes, oblivious to the terror in the room. Utterly alone, no human hand had turned the tiny silver key which operated it, and yet here it was, its innocent tune twinkling in the night. It was yet another cry, a desperate cry to say, I'm still here, I'm still here. It was like a radio which would come on by itself in the kitchen with the station Helena would never listen to. Then there was the bathroom tap which she would hear beginning to run as she descended the staircase. Without the slightest hint of warning, the small wooden music box flew off the sideboard on which it sat, as if an invisible hand had swiped it violently in one fatal blow. It crashed to the floor, the music abruptly halted, the ballerina lying lifeless beside it. As her heart thumped like a racing horse, a cold sweat streamed down her face. Helena heard the heartfelt, inconsolable sobs of a woman. She had heard this dreadful sound before, but never found the source. She had tried to speak to Adam about it. He told her she was being silly. It was the wind outside, it was the old central heater, it was the boiler, it was living in an old house. But he couldn't explain away the cigar smoke quite so easily. She had smelt it so many times before, and had actually seen it too. Great, thick, dirty, yellow clouds of smoke hovering in the air, despite the fact neither of them did. There was also the feeling of being watched. The notion Helena was never quite alone in the lodge. The heavy, menacing breathing she could hear just over her shoulder, and the brooding shadow caught in the corner of her eye. Both were ownerless, both intimidating, both threatening her. You've been listening to those stupid stories in the village, Adam scolded her. What stupid stories? She demanded, but Adam would go no further on the matter. The older lady who ran the post office was more obliging. You don't mind me telling you this, my dear, she began. You're not a nervous disposition, are you? Helena shook her head, lying. Well, there are some folks in these parts who reckon the laird and his lady wife still walk the lodge where you live, despite being dead these past 40 years. Helena's blood froze in her veins. Her heart stopped momentarily. Are you quite well, my dear? How did it happen? How did they die? They say he was an awful bully, a woman hater, but he needed a wife to give him an heir, to carry on the family name. He was awful suspicious and ill-feeling towards the poor soul he wed. She gave him no reason, but he found plenty within himself. The story goes, he, in a jealous rage, one windy, wild, stormy night, strangled the poor soul. As she slumped on the floor, she cursed her husband. She wished him to suffer an enduring torment with no peace in the heaven for him. They say the laird was dead before his body met the ground, his heart the culprit, but those who saw his twisted face tell another story. Tragically, what the poor soul of his wife didn't realise, she too was to join him in a never-ending restlessness. The tragedy of the situation became all too clear for Helena. She became caught between a murderer and his victim, both locked in a dreadful limbo between this world and the next. The twinkling of the music box was the desperate pleas of the slain lady for acknowledgement, and the destruction of such her husband's rage at enduring the torment she inflicted upon his death. That night, Helena tried to broach the subject once more with Adam, but he would hear none of it. "This is nonsense," he cried. "For heaven's sakes, you're an educated woman. You shouldn't be listening to such rubbish. Get a hold of yourself, for God's sakes, woman." Helena watched in silent shock as he continued to rant to the top of his voice, his temper rising rapidly. She gasped, wide-eyed, as the face she had known for 15 years began to transform right in front of her eyes. His slender brow became heavier, more prominent, his blue sparkling eyes now dark and dead. The porcelain white skin growing rough and yellow, whilst thick, heavy black beard and moustache sprouted from nowhere. Adam was gone. In a matter of seconds, his shovel-like hands were tightly clamped around her throat. She felt the agonizing suffocation take over her, the room spinning as the grip around her throat became unbearable. Spells of blackness came over her, interrupting the spinning sensation. In the midst of her terror, a tiny voice could just be heard. A woman's voice, not hers. "I curse you," it whispered harshly. "I curse you to endless days without rest or slumber, to walk this earth for all time without hope or charity. I curse with every sinew, muscle, bone, vein and organ in my being. I curse you for all time and beyond, to rest never in heaven above." The blackness engulfed Helena. She fell to the floor. "Helena, Helena," the wailing cried. She felt her body being shaken like a child with its rag doll. Slowly she opened her eyes. The sobbing Adam was bent over her, his tears dripping onto her. It was truly Adam. "Oh, thank God," he wailed. I don't know what came over me." "I know," she whispered, feeling her throat coarse and sore. "I know all too well." The end. Yes. Thank you, MacLeod, for that lovely story. Thank you. And we'll have another one coming soon. Yes, another one coming soon. So see you next time. Do tune in. Thank you. Good night, ghosts. Good night, boils and ghouls. Good night.